Jay-Z and Beyonce, Malibu's Galactic Mansion. First up, we've got the king and queen of music, Jay-Z and Beyonce, who don't just buy a house, they claim a piece of real estate history. When these two decided to settle down, they went for the biggest flex possible, the most expensive house ever sold in California. Price tag? A casual $200 million Malibu, baby. This mansion looks like it was plucked straight out of a sci-fi movie. Seriously, if aliens had summer homes, this would be their vibe. And let's be real, Jay-Z might need the place to double as a fortress. After all, the man's been attacked on stage before. Bulletproof windows were mandatory. But the real head scratcher? They've got 4 outdoor swimming pools and a private beach. Like, are they hosting the Olympics or something? And if that wasn't enough, there's a basketball court, a spa, and a gym. Because even billionaire royalty need to get their steps in. This place is worth more than Travis Scott's entire net worth. Imagine spending $200 million and still having enough left over to buy another house just for fun. Billionaire problems, huh? Richard Branson's Necker Island. Now, imagine not just owning a house, but your own Caribbean island. That's exactly what Richard Branson did. Because when you're bored of yachts, private islands are the logical next step. Branson's Necker Island is like a tropical fever dream, complete with flamingos, lemurs, and kite surfing galore. The crazy thing is, Branson bought the island in the late 70s for $180,000, basically the price of a really fancy SUV today. Inflation? What inflation? Since then, he's turned it into the ultimate billionaire playground. There are multiple villas, luxurious houses, and hundreds of employees to cater to your every whim. Gold diggers, take note, this is paradise. And if you're feeling bougie, you can rent the entire island for $105,000 a night. Yeah, that's pocket change for Jeff Bezos. But between you and me, Mr. Beast is probably the only one booking it for his next YouTube video. Before you fantasize about visiting Necker Island, hit the subscription button and turn on the notification bell. Upgrades over the years have cost Branson tens, maybe hundreds of millions. The dudes had houses burned down and rebuilt them even fancier. At this point, the island is more tricked out than a Fast and Furious car, and Branson is laughing all the way to the bank. Or the beach. Probably the beach. George Lucas's nerd paradise, Skywalker Ranch. George Lucas didn't build a house. He built a playground for film geeks. Forget golden chandeliers or diamond-encrusted sinks. At Skywalker Ranch, the vibe is less luxury and more cinematic heaven. Nestled in the kind of landscape that screams period drama, vineyards, rolling hills, and mountain views, this place looks like it was designed for Mr. Darcy to brood on. But don't let the Victorian vibes fool you. This is Nerd Central. The ranch is packed with epic movie memorabilia, like a statue of Yoda, Charlie Chaplin's hat and cane, and, randomly, a nude sketch of John Lennon. Why? Your guess is as good as mine. But the real star of the show, the entire sound division of Lucasfilm, lives here. That's right, Skywalker Ranch is where the iconic Star Wars and Indiana Jones soundtracks were brought to life. George Lucas was like, I can't get the right sound in these studios I'm renting. Guess I'll just build my own. Big billionaire energy! And when the sound wizards finish their work, they can preview it in the ranch's 3-story tall movie theater. There's even a massive library filled with books for sound designers to research. But wait, this place isn't just for movie magic. It's a legit ranch. They make their own wine, olive oil, and even Wagyu beef. Oh, and don't worry about accidentally setting the place on fire after a wine-fueled evening. There's an on-site fire department, because when you're worth hundreds of millions, why not be your own 911? All in all, Skywalker Ranch is worth a $100 million, proving that George Lucas knows how to spend that Star Wars cash. Letting Disney butcher the franchise might have been painful, but at least it bought him the ultimate nerd castle, Buckingham Palace, the billion-dollar taxpayer burden. George Lucas might be rich, but he's no match for the British monarchy. If you're from the UK, you already know Brits love to moan about how much of their taxes go toward keeping the royals in tiaras, and honestly, they might have a point. Buckingham Palace is worth a staggering $5 billion, making it the priciest mansion on this planet, and probably a few others. Inside, there are 775 rooms, including a private doctor's office and a police station. Oh, and the wine cellar? It's stocked with 25,000 bottles. Imagine being being the one royal who gets stuck with boxed wine. But the coolest part? Secret tunnels that connect to other royal properties. So, if the world goes full Mad Max, the king could probably just hop on a golf cart and zoom to safety underground. The palace also boasts a ballroom that fits 600 guests, which is probably why every American president has dropped by for a visit. At $5 billion, Buckingham Palace doesn't just house royals, it prints them billionaires. No wonder the Brits are so salty about their taxes. Mukesh Ambani's Jenga Tower of Insanity. Let's jet over to India, where Mukesh Ambani decided that mansions are for peasants. Why settle for a house when you can have a 27-story skyscraper? His home, Antilia, towers over Mumbai like a middle finger to anyone still renting. This beast of a building is 568 feet tall, has 6 lower floors dedicated just to 168 cars, and needs 600 servants to keep it running. How do you even interview for that job? Do you have experience dusting chandeliers the size of planets? Speaking of chandeliers, they're everywhere. So are vertical gardens, because apparently Mukesh wanted the place to look eco-friendly, even though it's basically a billionaire's Jenga tower. It doesn't stop there. Antilia has a 50-seat movie theater, an ice room, yes, a room where it literally snows indoors, and earthquake-proof engineering to survive magnitude 8 quakes. The whole thing cost $2 billion, which makes sense when you consider that it's essentially a small city disguised as a house. Bill Gates is Xanadu 2.0. Bill Gates doesn't just live in a house, he lives in a tech-powered fortress disguised as a humble cabin. It's so secretive that a charity auction once sold a tour of the house for $35,000. Let that sink in. People paid more to walk through his home than most of us make in a year. Nicknamed Xanadu 2.0 because why not name your house after a fictional mansion from Citizen Kane? The place is a high-tech wonderland tucked away in the Washington woods. From the outside, it looks like a regular cabin, but inside, it's a smart home on steroids. Guests can control each room's lighting, music, and climate with a touchpad. Feeling chilly? Ching! The room heats up. Not feeling Beyonce on the speakers? Swipe to Mozart. Honestly, it's like the house has a PhD in being awesome. Throughout the house, there are $80,000 worth of touchscreens because regular artwork is boring. These screens can display anything you want, from family photos to Shrek memes. And if Bill ever needs to blow off steam, there's a stream running through the house stocked with salmon and trout. Imagine coding all night and taking a break to fish, because that's a totally normal thing. Oh, and there's a giant library with a $130 million book. Yes, the book alone costs as much as the mansion itself. That's billionaire logic for you. Tiger Woods' golf paradise. What do you get when one of the richest athletes in the world builds a house? A golfer's paradise, of course. Tiger Woods' Florida mansion isn't just a home, it's a training ground for his inner golf nerd. There's a 4-hole course in the backyard, complete with a short game area and a video studio where Tiger can analyze his swing in Ultra HD. Who needs a coach when you've got instant replays of your own perfection? But wait, there's more! Tiger's house also features an oxygen therapy room. What is that, you ask? No one knows, but it sounds fancy. There's also an outdoor track, because when you're done hitting balls, why not sprint a few laps? Located on Jupiter Island, this mansion is in one of the most exclusive neighborhoods in the world. Only 900 people live there, and Tiger's part of an even more private section within it. The price tag? A cool $54 million. Yes, being good at golf really pays off. Ira Rennert's Hamptons estate. Feeling zen isn't for everyone? Just ask Ira Rennert. This guy looked at New York's chaotic energy and said, nah, I'm out. He dropped $248 million on a Hamptons estate so massive, it practically has its own zip code. Estimates now put the value at $500 million because apparently chimneys appreciate fine wine. Speaking of which, this place has 12 chimneys. Oh, and he spent $150,000 on a hot tub. That's more than most people spend on their entire homes. But the wildest feature? The estate has its own power plant. Yes, Rennert built a backup in case of a nuclear apocalypse. If the world ends, this guy will be sipping champagne in his hot tub while the rest of us fight over canned beans. Mark Zuckerberg's private paradise. Speaking of doomsday prepping, Mark Zuckerberg isn't playing around. Over in Hawaii, Zuck has been quietly building a compound that screams, I know something you don't. He's bought 1,400 acres of land land to create his own private paradise, complete with mansions, tree houses, and underground tunnels. Because what billionaire compound would be complete without secret passageways? Underneath it all lies a 500 square foot bunker with a blast-resistant door and a lifetime supply of energy and food. Basically, if zombies take over, Zuck is ready. Saudi royal family's estate. When you're worth $1.4 trillion, regular mansions just won't cut it. The Saudi royal family's palaces are the definition of extra. Inside one of their many estates, $500 million, they've got a private zoo for falcons and snow rooms. Because when you live in a desert, you've got to import winter. They've also built underground beaches and caves, turning their homes into literal fantasy worlds. Why leave your palace when you've got a beach in the basement? Honestly, if I had that kind of money, I'd probably build a roller coaster through my kitchen.